Okay, trying this again. Good evening. Going to try to get Roxy on here again. And then we will get started. If anyone comes on that does not know me, I am Crystal. I'm the Quantum Priestess, and I will be performing Quantum Trance. This is a version of also QHHT, Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique, that I'm doing a little bit differently tonight. So Roxana will be channeling Mr. Paul Walker per his request. And I'm just waiting on her, and hopefully it's going to work this time. We already tried to do this once. Hello, Roxy. Yeah. So, Roxana, is it showing anything on your end, like, to do?
Hi, it finally worked.
It's working.
Yeah, I had to try it on like 2
I
different.
can't even hear a word you're saying. Hold on. Oh, it's me. That's why. I had the volume way down.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yep. I can hear
Okay.
you now.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, maybe it's just me, and I tried it on my tablet, but it was the same. So I was like, oh my gosh. So
Look
glad
at
it worked.
you, like all fancy.
Yes. Trust me, guys, this is not my normal look. I'm usually fluffing around in pajamas and tired mom face, but today,
You look awesome.
thank you. Today is a special day for me.
I'm sure she is. So, again, we're about to do a quantum trance session, if anyone missed me saying that. And I'm a little bit anxious just because when I've done this, what we're about to do many times, but it's normally with a spirit like I already know I've had some interaction with. I've had none with him. Absolutely none.
Yeah, I feel anxious too, so you're not alone.
Mm. Okay, so are you ready to get started?
So I think it'd be best if I lay down for this. So is that gonna be okay if I have the view at the ceiling?
Yeah, that's fine because I need you to be comfortable.
Okay. Enjoy my awesome view of the ceiling, you guys.
Yeah.
Maybe get tranced out yourself with the fan.
Yeah, and thank you for reminding me. I do need to say, if anyone is watching this live video, like if you're at work or driving, you need to keep yourself alert, or you may trance out with us. Well, with her. I have to stay alert too. So just be aware. You are going to hear me do a hypnosis induction. So if you're not in like a safe space to where if you trance out that it's fine, I would watch this later.
Okay, I think I'm ready. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just want to say what quantum trance is really quick. A normal session. It is based off QHHT, quantum healing hypnosis therapy. So I put people into the deepest state of trance. We're working with the theta waves in the brain, and this is the deepest state of trance you can go without falling asleep. If you did it by yourself, you would fall asleep. Um, And normally this is for people to connect with their highest self and get answers to their questions and get any healing they may need. And then as I've been doing this, it's evolved to where other spirits come through to speak. Spirits, ET beings, any type of beings can come through. So I've done this a few times in the past. I don't know if I have a soul connection with Paul or not. I've not met him. He came through Roxana. So I'm going into this blind. We're gonna see what happens. So this
Yeah,
is
I have no clue what to expect.
you have no clue. Yeah, yeah, because he said he had something to talk about, but it doesn't sound like you have many details.
No.
Okay then. So I guess we're gonna get started. So Roxy, start breathing deep. Oh, I forgot to ask you, where do you want your like happy place to be?
I'm okay with the fairy forest.
Okay. Start breathing deeply in through your nose and slowly out through your mouth. And again, in through your nose and slowly out through your mouth. And start visualizing yourself walking through the fairy forest, surrounded by ancient trees, looking at all the beautiful flowers. There are animals around you, and the fairies are flying around. And up ahead is the river of lights with the beautiful healing waters. Go ahead and walk to the river. Sit down by the river and put your feet in the water. Any tension or anxiety in the body, allow it to flow out into the water, and the river will pull it away. The sun is shining down on you. Filling your crown chakra. There's a gentle breeze blowing around you, clearing your aura. As you are sitting here at the river, we're going to bring down the diamond white light and gold light pyramid. It goes over your head, around your body, and underneath you, where you are completely inside the pyramid. Inside this pyramid, you're completely safe and protected. We're also going to fill the pyramid with the blue light of truth. The light fills the pyramid all around you. Where only truth aligned with your highest self, the highest self of Paul Walker, and truth of the highest integrity may be spoken in this pyramid. Do you allow the spirit you know as Paul Walker to enter the pyramid with you?
Yes.
Up above you in the sky is a big, beautiful cloud. A special cloud that can go anywhere in the universe. Cloud is going to slowly start to drift down towards you. Gently coming down to the ground. As the cloud is coming down, I'm going to start saying the spirit phrase to put you deeper into trance. Ishput Nis. Ishput Nis. Ishput Nis. The cloud is floating down to the ground. It is coming down to the ground. Has the cloud reached you yet?
Yes.
At this time, you can get up and go sit in the cloud. Lay back and get comfortable in the cloud. And it wraps around you like a warm blanket. The cloud completely supports your body, allowing you to feel weightless, where any discomfort leaves the body as you float weightlessly. Also, if you hear any sudden noise, it will not bother you or wake you up. You will simply observe it and continue moving forward. The cloud slowly starts to drift up, going up above the river, floating up above the trees, and floating up into the sky. It's taking you wherever is appropriate for the spirit of Paul Walker to channel through you with ease. As the cloud is floating up, I'm going to continue to say the phrase to put you deeper into trance. Ishput Nis. Ishput Nis. Ishput Nis. The cloud is floating up higher and higher, going higher and higher into the atmosphere. When the cloud comes down again, it will land wherever is appropriate for the spirit of Paul to channel through you with ease. Ishput Nis. Ishput Nis. Ishput Nis. The cloud is slowly going to start to drift down to the ground, landing wherever is appropriate for the spirit of Paul to channel through you with ease. The cloud is drifting down, coming down to the ground. You are floating down, down to the ground. Has the cloud reached the ground yet?
Yes.
Did you say yes?
Mhm.
Okay, I can't. Can you speak a little louder?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. At this time, you can get out of the cloud. And do you see anyone there with you?
Yes, Paul is here with me.
Are you ready for him to start integrating to be able to speak?
Yes.
Okay. At this time, I'm asking the consciousness and personality of Roxana to please recede where the personality of the spirit of Paul Walker may come through and speak. I'm calling the spirit of Paul forward to speak. And as you are integrating, I'm going to say the spirit phrase to assist both of you. Ishput Nis. Ishput Nis. Ishput Nis. I'm calling Paul forward. Are you able to start getting through?
Yes.
Do you need me to say the spirit phrase more?
Yes, for a little bit.
Ishput Nis. Ishput Nis. I'm asking Rosanna's consciousness to please allow Paul forward where he can speak with ease. Ishput Nis. I'm definitely feeling an energy shift.
Oh, yes.
Are you able to speak now?
Yes, I am.
Hello, Paul.
Hi. How is everyone?
uh, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little anxious. How are you doing?
You know, I kind of feel the same.
Have you done
It's been a
anything like
while.
this before?
No, not like this. It's been a while since I've been in a body like this as well.
And it's a little different, buddy.
Oh, yes.
Have you worked with anyone as far as them like doing a reading where they're speaking to you?
Yes, I have.
So you're at least used to that.
I am, but they hear what they want to hear still.
They hear what they want to hear. Yeah, that's pretty common. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is this why you wanted to do this?
One of the reasons, yes. I wanted to let people know some things that they might not be aware of as well. And I have to say, I kind of miss being a human sometimes. I know
You
that
do?
sounds silly. Yeah, I do.
It's not necessarily silly. It's silly. Like it's. I wouldn't even call it silly, but like I'm tired of being a human. So some
Yeah,
of us are tired of what's going on here.
yeah, for sure. And I do want to speak about some of that today. So I know you have some good questions lined up for me.
We do have some questions. Some might be kind of stupid because I don't know much about you. So I
Well,
just
you know
kind of
what?
put together. Sorry, what
There's
were you
not,
saying?
I was just going to say, there's not any stupid questions, so it's okay.
That's true. Um, so do you want to start with what you want to talk about?
Would you mind giving me an opening question just to kind of break this in a little bit?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
So here's a silly one. I did this on purpose because I knew you might need to start on a lighter subjects. So I did not know. I used Wikipedia just to get some basic info about you. I
Mhm.
knew who you were, but I didn't know anything about you. And I read that you were on Young and the Restless, the soap opera.
Yes. Oh,
So
you would bring that up.
I would because my like guilty pleasure for like a lot of my life, I used to watch that show a lot.
Oh, wow.
Um, so I thought that was hilarious.
That is. I honestly try to forget that point in time, but it's still hilarious that you brought that up.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
Why do you try to forget it?
Soap operas just weren't my thing.
Okay,
I
not
only
your
did it
thing.
because I needed the money for the time being. So,
And yeah, what? Because that was like one of the first things you did, right? As an
mhm.
adult.
Yes. Well, I say it's one of the things I was most known for at the time and helped me launch my career.
Yeah, it was a good stepping stone.
Yeah.
Is there, I just want to know, like, I'm not going to talk about this a long time, but with soap operas, how they are, like all the drama, are the sets full of drama?
Yes.
They are. Oh.
Just as much drama as the actual show, believe it or
Well,
not.
people stay on there so long, I'm not surprised. Like, there's people that have been on a soap opera longer than I've been alive.
Yeah. All kinds of
So,
crazy things.
yeah.
Lots of people sleeping
Um,
around, the usual.
oh, yeah. Like any other job.
Right.
Here's another easy question. Have you kept up with the Fast and the Furious?
Yes, I
And
have.
what do you think about them taking it to space?
Uh, it's kind of the reason I brought Roxana to the moon to kind of emphasize how funny I felt that was. So, personally, not a big fan, although I understand the direction that they were trying to go in, but just no. No. Just no. uh, you guys know how crazy I was about cars, so for me, this would have just killed it for me if I were still alive.
Yeah. Would you have stayed on?
No, I wouldn't. I would have left.
So Vin Diesel, it seemed like you two were close off the set. Is that true?
Yes and no.
So some of us were curious if you two had any type of soul connection.
The previous Vin Diesel, we did. But maybe you're more familiar with that, with body hijacking or soul hijacking.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure what term you prefer, but originally we were close. We were like brothers, but there came a point in time when an opportunity for specific rituals came up, and then, of course, volunteered, feeling that it would further his career. But the Vin that I knew, my brother at the time, um, was removed from that body. So,
Interesting you brought that up because that's some of the stuff I wanted to get into later. Um,
oh yes,
I want to backtrack a little bit to ease into this topic because I have some feelings about this, but I don't know a lot. And I read you were raised Mormon.
yes,
Is there a dark side to that religion?
yes, there is.
Do you
One of
want
the
to talk
reasons
about
I
that at
kind
all?
of where to start. So yes, it is. I don't know how widely known it is, but yes, it is occult. There is a dark side to this religion, and in fact, I did want Roxana to ask this question, but I'm glad that you did bring it up because that was one of the main reasons that I left and went into non denominational Christianity, which really by the time that I left the Mormon church, I was pretty much done with all religion across the board. So that was really just to have something on paper more than anything else. So you could say being raised Mormon uh, eventually led to me becoming an atheist, but it wasn't something that I ever really talked about with anyone because I was afraid. Because I had barely really escaped out of the church myself, only because of my parents' high standing within the church, which basically I was able to get away kind of scot free a little bit. But their insistence that I be a part of some kind of Christian branch was the reason why I chose non-denominational Christianity, as you would call it, but
Yeah.
I didn't practice that any of those faiths anymore.
So is Mormonism linked to Hollywood at all?
Yes, it is.
Or is that behind any of the ritualistic initiations with Hollywood?
Some of it, yes.
So, okay.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I've just gotten I've seen pictures of certain Mormon churches and I just get really bad vibes.
Yes. So, the same energy that is um, called in for rituals at the Grove, the most infamous Grove,
Mm-hmm.
is the same energy channeled through the Mormon church.
Okay, really quick, I just want to say, because someone was asking if they can ask questions during this, go ahead and put them in and I will try to remember to look. I'm not seeing everything, but do ask and hopefully I'll see it.
Yes, I do appreciate questions.
Hmm. Um, so were you ever put through any type of initiation?
Oh, yes.
Can you talk about that?
So one in particular was, as a boy, I was initiated through the Mormon Church in these rituals, but you could basically call them sexual rituals or like orgy type rituals.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it. And we had our ritualistic clothing, ritualistic tools. Some of them look like weapons, but because we were younger, they didn't give us the real thing. They gave us like replicas. But we were expected to perform in front of an audience, adult audience, as young children. So yes.
Um, is Mormonism linked with anything like Freemasonry at all?
The current version of Freemasonry, yes.
Okay.
And also it is linked to the current underground movement of pedophilia.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Within this, were you harmed or abused at all? I think you kind of just
But
answered that.
yes, several times.
Like, these organizations, they piss me off.
Me too.
So, the movie The Skulls,
Yes.
that was portraying Skull and Bones, correct?
Yes.
Um, these movies they do like this, is that kind of their way of showing people, like, look, this happens, and if you don't say anything, that means you guys are okay with it?
Of course.
Like, I think a lot of us know this. I just wanted to hear an answer.
Yes, of course. And they always have to tell you what they're going to do in
And
some
they do
type
it
of
through
way.
so-called fiction movies.
Yes. So, like, it's a thing they have to tell you, but they don't have to get you to understand. So,
Right.
that I feel is the reason why not many pay attention afterwards, because they can't fathom everything, like the meaning behind all of this symbolism.
Yeah, it's you have to reach a certain consciousness to start seeing what's really going on.
Yes, in fact, this is why the rituals that I was initiated through started at a young age, because it is a well-known tool within many circles that inducing trauma in young children will make them more susceptible and easily pliable to pick up these types of messages. So, and I do know that it's not just me when I was a child that went through something like this. I know many others did as well and may not even realize it because of certain programming in place.
And it's blocking their memories.
Yes, and
Yeah,
it's kind of a manipulation of hypnosis that many secret programs and governments have utilized on its own people.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, everything has a dark side, you know. If it can be healing, the same thing can be used to harm,
Yes,
unfortunately.
yes, unfortunately.
So, a quick like digression from this topic, but we're going to get back to all this. First, I want to ask you, I'm going to lead into the question. Did you know Herman before Spirit?
Yes,
Had you just heard about him?
No, we're soul family.
Okay. When you were alive and living, though, had you heard of Herman?
Yes, I have.
Um, you did another movie called The Lazarus Project, where a prisoner that's supposed to die escapes. And it just kind of struck me as some similarities with the H.H. Holmes story.
Mhm.
Is that a coincidence, or is there something to this?
No, there is something to this, of course. Um, the way that was portrayed. Um, so first off, let me say Herman is um, a very heavy like symbolism of sorts in in occult itself.
Are you
So
serious?
I'm dead serious. so so
Wow. I mean, I've kind of known, like, I've known he was deep into it, and I know when he was alive, yes, he was known for that, but I did not know that currently this was a known thing.
yes, many look up to him and his work and do their best to emulate him as well, and his brilliance. So kudos to you, Herman, on that note.
So, what was his work?
So particularly his method through rituals is heavily emulated. Um, some secret knowledges that he left in some circles are still, in fact, in circulation. And of course, that information is manipulated to suit the whims of those performing said rituals. Of course, it varies, but he and his work is widely known in many of these circles.
This is so wild to me. Like, you're confirming a lot for me because I don't know if you're aware, but when I realized my connection with Herman, I went through horrible spiritual attacks.
Mhm. Oh, all of
And
that was planned.
huh?
All of that is planned. Any connection to Herman is well sought after. You could say that once that connection comes online, in fact, many are aware and will fight over that and ways to try and manipulate the situation. So, hence the attacks. What that really meant.
I never understood why because, like, you know, according to society standards, as far as what elite people would give a shit about, I'm a nobody. I'm not famous. I'm not rich. Like, I have nothing they would want physically.
Well, you have to remember everyone is someone on the soul level, and that information is readily available to those who know how to look for it.
Yeah. It's just like this still, even though I've lived with this for years, it still fascinates me. Like, is this real life?
what
What,
is
what? Yeah, exactly. What is that?
it? No, but you know, the fact that you feel that way and have lived through that experience um, does, in fact, help them to have an easier access to you. I'm sure that doesn't come as a surprise as to why many of us have had to live through poverty, as it were. It is a type of mind control. Um, and if one is susceptible enough, they can be easily manipulated to the whims of that control. I know it's part of the reason I wanted to come through and talk about this because this is subconscious programming that many of us are susceptible to, whether we
Yeah.
realize it or not.
Yeah, people need to be aware like this shit is real.
Uh, I am experiencing some type of interference right now.
Okay.
I'm trying to discern what this is. Whew, it felt like, when you hit a gong and it vibrates really strong?
Mm-hmm.
It felt like that.
Okay, well, I want to state, because I know Rosanna's consciousness is obviously there in the background. Um, I just want to state that anything that just happened is not going to bother you. You are safe, you are protected. Whatever that was will just stay where it was. It's not going to affect you in any way.
Okay. I feel things calming down now. I did follow all the proper protocols before this visit, just so we all know that.
Yeah, like I feel your energy's clean.
Yeah.
This would have never happened if you weren't.
No.
Because we've had other people come forward that would like to do these sessions, and I still would like to do it, but they have to go deal with their stuff first.
Right.
Because I'm not going to allow anyone to be harmed from channeling another spirit.
Most definitely, and a wise choice. So yeah, we were talking about the subconscious.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason I wanted to come through today, just to bring more awareness to this, because not everyone may realize how deep it really goes, which it would have to go deep if it's the subconscious.
Yeah, and I mean, that even gets into the unconscious,
Yes.
which I feel technically manipulation can go on there too.
Yes, it can. And, this is something that will stay with many across many lifetimes, and they will not even be aware of that.
It does, because that's what I've dealt with myself in this current lifetime is breaking out of programs and things being done that I no longer will allow. And that's why this
Yeah.
type of work is so important because people have to start getting to know the different parts of their consciousness so that they won't be manipulated.
Yes. Yes, in fact, I feel many that aren't happy about me talking about this right now. In fact, even though I haven't gotten so far off the wall with it yet.
Are you meaning like other spirits or beings?
Yes.
So really quick, I know you entered the pyramid with Roxana, but I just want to take a minute to put the diamond white light and gold light around you, your spirit, where you are completely inside this pyramid. You are completely protected and no one can do anything about that. So that you can be free to go as much off the wall as you want because we're all about that here.
Yes. It is starting to feel a lot better. So I think there was an interference moment to try and push me out of the body. I think that's what it was, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I get a lot of interference with sessions that get into all these topics. Um,
Yeah, it's some words kind of trigger something like an alarm system, and it goes off and has an automatic reaction, much
yeah,
like.
Herman.
Mhm.
Herman's had to explain that to us a lot because I get really impatient and I get angry when I can't just say what I want to say when I want to say it.
Mhm. Yeah, so it's definitely like kind of like, when your virus software sees a potential threat, and much the same.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I forget where we were talking. Okay, ritual for men. Maybe you can refresh my memory here.
We had went from kind of the rituals into subconscious and how they're manipulating people, programming their subconscious. Um,
Oh yes. And many keyword phrases that have been installed in people's subconscious, unconscious, as well will activate them to a certain behavior, and they won't even realize it because it's so far in there. They could just be watching a commercial. Commercial could have, it doesn't even have to be subliminal, it can just be in your face, just one key phrase, and you know suddenly you have the masses all coming on and at attention, at a moment's notice.
yeah,
And many people don't realize this starts when they're very young, and a lot of people are entered into these programs um, without any awareness, conscious awareness.
so when you say programs, are you talking about like SSP?
Yes, that's one of them, but there are many others. That's kind of like a cover name for many. There's some that
Yeah.
you will not find a shred of evidence about anywhere. Like, for example, I know Roxana involvement, her involvement in some of these programs, and some of them she doesn't even have information on, but she's aware to a degree of her involvement. But even then, it's like the tracks are so well covered, you don't even know how deep it really goes.
Yeah, like I know I was involved with one that turned really negative, and that's literally all I know. I have no memories. Um, I mean, they are really great at erasing all memories.
Oh, yeah. One could say they've had thousands of years of practice
Right, yeah,
to perfect this. I don't even want to call it art. We'll just call it manipulation.
yeah.
hmm Oh, yes. There are many facets of humanity that are utilized, specifically the coding that makes up what the human is has been deconstructed and reconstructed so many times. Pretty much just being born now puts you in a program depending on your coding that's stored, of course, in your DNA and your cells. Um, there are weapons that can change this coding while you are in the womb. Certain frequencies are blasted and can change your entire molecular structure and everything that makes you who you are before you're even born.
Were you a part of any programs as a child?
Yes. So there is no real separation from church and state, even though there was supposed to be, and that was put in, we'll just say, our Constitution for a reason. It wasn't just because of knowing how corrupt things could go if the two were to merge. There was a reason that was put as a clause in that document. So
Yeah,
the whole fact that it was even there was part of a ritual in itself. In fact, you could say the entire Constitution is a ritual, just written in plain sight for everyone to see, like, the usual. Um, Nothing really righteous about it. I say is more self-righteous more than anything, but
exactly.
yeah, all of that. And in fact, my induction into the Mormon Church as a young child was really the start of all of that merging of the church and states, as it were. So you could say that some of these churches that going there from a young child, that is your what you call your introduction to some of these programs, secret programs.
Which, I mean, like, I hate to make this sound as a compliment, but it's a brilliant setup, because you get a hold of people's like faith and religious beliefs and throw some fear in there, and then but make them trust you, and at the same time you get a hold of kids really young. You can program and manipulate a lot of things that way.
Oh yeah, and they have information on specific bloodlines that are more susceptible to this type of training, manipulation tactics. Because what is a family Bible with everyone's names written in there? I mean, everything is linked
Yeah.
to these type of rituals, this introduction to the rituals. They have information on everyone. Everything you can imagine is an information grab. So there's really nothing about you that's really secret.
Nothing is, even more so now.
Oh yeah. Nothing is hidden, nothing is secret except what's been done to you. And
Yeah.
that information can be accessed, but it is deep within, many of you. You're not going to be consciously aware of it. Hypnotherapy would be one of the best options right now to access this information.
Yep. And even then, if it's going to harm the person more to find out, the consciousness will keep it hidden until you're ready.
Right. So it's really important that people are made aware of their contracts, their familial contracts that have been made that go back generations upon generations, or even in their own past lifetimes. It's like the domino effect. So you can't really just get in and be one and done. It's something you have to keep committing to removing, because in doing so, you take control over your coding again, and you recode your system, your simulation, your body, and that's what many I see around every now and again. They call that being sovereignty, but you really have to take action steps to do that. It's just not something that they hand to you, obviously. They can try and stop you, and they will, but it's up to you to continue, because it's essentially, in a sense, slavery. So
yeah.
And I know many don't want to hear that, or they feel maybe someone else has had it worse than them, but I'm telling you, it's not even the way that you think. History has been washed and washed and washed and washed. You have no idea what is actually real and true anymore, but you do know that you have control, more or less, over your own destiny, as it were. But you have to actually seek that. You have to continue searching for the truth, and you can't stop, because they won't stop. They won't stop trying to stop you.
No, they really don't.
And many of these organizations are all linked together now and working together. So when I say they, and it sounds so broad and like speculative, that's because it is, and that's because that's the way they want it.
Yeah, a worldwide network.
Exactly. They realize the power behind joining together, whereas they know the power of division and putting us against each other will work to their benefit. So
yeah.
and this is a topic that really gets me riled up. So if you have more questions for me,
Um, I need to pause for a second, if that's okay. I've got to go to the bathroom because I'm drinking a lot of water.
okay.
So,
Roxana actually needs to do that as well.
okay. So, if you like, I can have you recede and bring her fully in for that.
Yes, that'd be good.
Okay. So at this time, I'm asking Paul to recede back out of Roxana's energy, and I'm calling forward all of the consciousness and personality of Roxana, calling all of you back to your body where you can go relieve yourself in the bathroom, and you will stay in this trance, but you will be able to get up and walk perfectly fine.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so for you guys watching, we will be right back. Don't go
It's an
away.
interlude.
Just an interlude. Yeah, these sessions make us use the bathroom a lot. Okay. I am back. If you're just hopping on, I'm writing on Rosanna to get back. Roxana,
Okay.
we had to do a bathroom break.
Yes. Okay. All right, I'm good to go again.
Okay, so can you see yourself back where you were when Paul was channeling?
Yes, we're
I think he
on.
said he took you to the moon.
Yeah, we're at a space bunker on the moon.
Okay. So at this time, I'm going to start saying the spirit phrases again to put you deeper into trance. And as I'm doing the spirit phrase, I'm asking the consciousness of Roxana to recede, to allow the consciousness of Paul to come forward again where he can speak freely. Paul, I'm calling you forward again. Ishput Nis. Ishput Nis. Ishput Nis. How are you doing, Paul?
I think I might need another pyramid down here.
Okay. So for the consciousness of Roxana and for Paul, we're bringing down the diamond white light and gold light pyramid to come around both of you where you are completely inside the pyramid. With this pyramid, you are completely safe and protected. No external energy may get through the force of this pyramid. Is that better?
Yes, a lot better.
Do I need to say the phrase more, or are you good?
We're good. It was just felt a lot of attention still. So when I got up, it kind of created like an opening for that to come through.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, really quick, Athena had picked up on something. She wanted me to ask you, did something happen that caused injury to you while you were in your mother's womb?
Yes. Um, so the best way I could describe it is something like coming through and choking me. In fact, that's why Roxana was coughing in the beginning of the session, because she was picking up on that that wounding that happened before I was even born in this previous lifetime. So essentially, the reason that happened, that was tied into one of my sole purposes of coming through at that time, and essentially they crushed it out of me before I was even born. So it's kind of
Wow.
like they destroyed a good chunk of my soul's reason for even being there. Like they could pinpoint where that information was stored in my body. Yeah, and that's pretty common practice for many. In fact,
So, is this done without consent from the highest self?
right. So there are loopholes. One of them being when the mother goes to the hospital for a checkup. There's documentation that is signed that I would say pretty much all parents are not aware of. It's like basically a contract behind a contract. So kind of like an energetic contract hidden behind a physical one.
Right. The parents
With
think they're just signing about some procedure,
right,
and they have no idea it means something else.
right. Sonograms being a big part of that now. Um,
Yeah.
I know it was less common back then that people would get them, but given a good enough reason, the mother or the parents would feel it necessary. A lot of times, the documentation was just as simple as signing paperwork for even visiting the office, because it's a perfect place to gain access to your health. So why not? Why not put that there?
Yeah.
So it's right there in your face, and that's the loophole, because you have it in your hand, you're looking at it, you're signing it. Not funny, but
I mean, sometimes you just have to laugh at this shit because we could go insane
Yes,
with the knowledge of what all is happening here.
right. And
I mean,
people
some
want
people do
to make
lose
it
it.
worse. Hmm.
I talk about all the time how a lot of people that end up homeless and are just called crazy, they're really very in tune, but they had no help or
Hmm.
no belief that what they were seeing was real. And they believed
Exactly.
others telling them they were crazy.
Yeah, don't even get me started on those places. They should be put out of business immediately.
Who should be
Uh,
put out of business?
um, like psychiatric wards,
Oh, yeah.
things like that of nature. Yeah. So that's a whole nother story, but pretty awful stuff. Um,
Yeah, it is.
but yeah, so your signature is consent. You may think it's just for one thing, but there's always a dual purpose for something. So that's something I want anyone who cares to know to keep in mind.
So, does it help someone if, in your life you're taught to do your signature? Most of the time it's your full first and last name, sometimes a middle initial. Not everyone requires that though. It just says signature. And I know with myself in my early 20s,
Hmm.
I subconsciously stopped signing my name and started signing my first initial and last name.
Hmm.
Does that get around any of these contracts?
Yeah, so you can actually create your own loopholes too, just like they are. In
I
fact,
didn't even know I was doing that until you brought this up.
that's so clever of you.
What about if
Um,
someone changes their name?
well, it's the birth name that they're after.
So
So
even if you legally change your name, it still helps.
it does, even though that's a binding contract in itself. In fact, if some of you want to sign with an X only, I'm sure you could get away with that at times. Highly encourage that.
So
Uh,
just an X?
yeah, because there are some who are not able to write, read and write still, and they're just like, okay, well, put your X here, you know.
Yeah,
That is one loophole that you can use.
interesting.
Hmm. Yes, indeed.
So Roxana had wanted to ask you, you had an organization reach out worldwide.
Hmm.
What was the true purpose behind that?
So that was actually a front to try and assist trafficking victims from basically pulling them out of the trafficking circles. And there's a reason I started that in Haiti and the Haiti relief because that was a big proponent of human trafficking at the time. And it was my goal just because of the things that I knew and the things that I witnessed and went through to do my best to put a stop to that where I could because of the point I was well known enough and I had, the wherewithal enough to start something, you know, an organization like that. It was considered, a relief, and it was. I did my best to relieve um, those that I could out of those some of those trafficking circles. And that is part of the reason why I was killed, because that went against what I had to sign up for to even be in the entertainment business.
So yeah, I was just going to get to that question. First, I want to ask, What do you guys have to sign to make it in entertainment?
So, as cliche as it sounds, you do have to sell your soul. You have to sign a waiver, basically relinquishing all of your rights. Um, you have no rights. You are at the whim of your handlers. But what many people don't know is that this is all preordained. Circumstances, it's not just like you wake up one day, I'm going to go to Hollywood, I'm going to sign my soul away. No, it's you're trained for this as a young child, and
Yeah.
parents are involved. Parents are involved.
Um,
So
when this happens, like, does this carry over when you're done with the life?
yes, it does.
So did you have
So,
to do some things to get out of this?
oh yes, I not only had to work on it on my own, but also had to heavily involve my team afterward. But not everyone has the same contract. I know that sounds contradictory, but like I said, there's many different programs, even within the entertainment industry. So that's why you'll see some that are kind of doing okay, and some they're just really doing awful. There's some, next thing you know, they're dead. There's varying degrees of contracts even within all of that. So for me, even though what I went through was horrific, I still came out of the lighter side of things compared to what a lot signed over. So although it was a challenge for me to remove a lot of these things after death, after I was killed, I had an easier time of it than some are having right now. And I'm sure you can think of a couple of examples
Yeah.
of beings that are having a really hard time right now. So they got a really short end of the stick contract wise. I was a little bit more fortunate because of where like the stature of my parents and how well known they were and regarded and all that jazz. So I got it a little bit less than others.
So can you tell us what happened as far as the quote unquote car accident that a lot of people didn't believe anyway?
So there was actually faulty wiring. One of the reasons my daughter went on to sue the car company, Porsche, um, she didn't win that, but she knew because I had come to her and I had talked to her in her dreams to let her know that that wasn't an accident. The faulty wiring is what caused the fire. In fact, is the whole reason pretty much the car even sped up to begin with because we weren't really in the car to speed at that point. Somehow the wiring and sensors were messed with enough to where we weren't able to really slow down. And the next thing you know, we're crashing and things are starting to catch on fire. But we lost control when the car started accelerating.
Do
So,
you do you have any idea of who was behind this?
um, well, some I would have called brother. I have to say, Vin was a part of this. It's all ritualistic. Um, the ones that you like, the ones that say they were close to me and knew me and considered me family, or say that they loved me, but had absolutely zero to none emotional reaction to my death, those were the ones involved. So it's quite a big list. I was sacrificed, in other words.
Yeah.
And of course, I was starting to get out of line anyway, so I had to go.
Right. You weren't fitting in with the agenda.
No, um, my organization was the start of the downfall of my career, really. So I was pretty much very well suited for their purpose on that end.
So the ritualistic side of this,
Mhm.
do they know, like, let's say at a certain time of year that they're going to need a sacrifice, and so then they start going through the list of, well, who can we get rid of?
Oh, yeah. Everything is precisely calculated, and the information is readily available to those that are given that access. It does go through a system of hands, so it's not just readily available to everyone. It just depends on your position and all that. Bloodlines are a big factor in this as well. So,
Yeah.
mhm,
Well, and things like gematria and numerology are helping a lot of what we would call common folk
mhm,
figure out when these events are rituals versus a true accident.
right. Yes, it is a very useful tool, and I encourage those of you who are interested enough to study that to get familiar with it.
Yeah,
It's being used against you, so you might as well know your enemy a little bit more.
exactly. Gematria, like that can turn into a huge rabbit hole. Like you'll be surprised at all the different names and phrases that are linked together.
Yes, exactly. Or you might not be surprised. Who
You're right,
knows?
yeah, depends on who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, so in case anyone is wondering, I really did die in the car accident. I was burned alive, pretty much. Well, that was the intent, but I still consider it being burned alive.
Yeah.
So, um, I didn't like disappear and go on a sweet resort island somewhere. Just to clear that up,
Are
in case
people
anyone was
thinking you did
wondering.
that?
Well, it's the same place Tupac went, or all those famous stars that just, oh, they didn't die, they're still alive somewhere. Well, we have to go back to selling your soul part aspect of all of this, so you can be replaced in your own body at any time. So
Yeah,
it's
because
not really
they
you,
create clones also.
right? It's not really you. So you, but not you.
Did they ever clone your body?
Yes, there were some complications with that though. When I was alive and I was aware of that, I wasn't quite certain what they were going to be doing with that. But my um, it's in my awareness that they use my body for mission type work. Um, Off planet mostly. Still working on ending some contracts, so that is part of it. It goes deep. It goes very deep, you
It
all.
really does. A lot of people think cloning can't even be done yet, and they were doing it back in Herman's time.
Oh yeah. That's,
This isn't new.
no. I'd say this is really thousands of years worth of technology. It's been going on
Yeah,
for a long time. So,
cause yeah, it's off Earth technology, so it's technically been going on way longer than even
oh
Earth
yeah.
years.
Oh yes, for sure. And so I know Roxana's had some fun with this. Removing connections and attachments to clones, where they still have a part of your essence and that's still attached to your soul. So yeah, there's a lot of fun spider webs to clear up
I
around that.
went through that myself with Herman.
Oh yes,
In fact,
yeah.
he just put me and some friends through a game last year or 2020 um, to help me lose that attachment.
Yeah. So,
But he almost didn't get away with that. Like,
ooh, wow.
that almost ended everything.
Oh, Herman.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so it's um, and I'm not sure how aware people are of this either. They're sold an idea that when you die, everything's done, but in fact, really, it's just begun.
Exactly.
So you don't magically complete all of your experiences um, from your human time when you've passed on. You still have things you have to make choices and deal with the consequences of after your life is human. So
Yeah.
better start cleaning up now, folks. It's in your best interest. Don't wait until you're in too deep like I did. And next thing you know, you're dead. And then you're like, oh man, look at all this shit I gotta clean up now.
Yeah. A lot of us that have been on the spiritual path in this lifetime, that's been a big part of it is cleaning up old contracts, getting rid of
Mhm.
connections that are not aligned with us, not having like extra cords, all that fun stuff.
Oh yeah, it's the fun that never stops. So just try not to be overwhelmed with it. Just take it as much as you can. Get your teams involved. They're there to support you. Don't be stubborn like I was. Just let them come in, let them help you. Doesn't matter what you believe. They're there. They're waiting to support you.
Was it hard for you since you became atheist when you were alive? So was it a shock for you when you crossed into spirit and then you see obviously there is life after death because you're there?
Yeah, and I was feeling because it was my beliefs that were installed in me, and I developed that if I became atheist, if I truly believed in that, that would put a stop to a lot of that. It's kind of the whole reason I went in that direction. So of course, when I passed on, I learned that that didn't really change what was fact.
Yeah.
It did help me. It did help me in a sense to shield me from further manipulation in some ways, but it prevented me from really getting tuned in and getting the help that would have been really beneficial at that time when I was alive, when I was in my human body. So yeah, so the point is it's not a matter of what you believe and what you don't believe, um, because there's going to be truth, there's going to be facts, regardless of your beliefs. Um, so it would really be beneficial if you start asking your own soul what your soul believes, more than just rejecting belief altogether, like I tried to do. Um,
Yeah, because we can have like beliefs on a shallow level that our human consciousness creates a belief because of whatever experience, but at a deeper level, it's not true.
right. Yeah, so it's like, I felt at the time because um I didn't understand a lot that was done to me. So I felt that if I could just like kind of close off that part of myself that was so raw and sensitive and so used, that would just kind of solve a good bit of that. But, all of the trauma and memories of the things that I was introduced to and I was forced to do under these programs and contracts um, would still come through, even though I did my best to block them out, to put my focus
It
on.
was, I feel like for you, going atheist wasn't as much of a spiritual belief as it was a defense mechanism to protect yourself.
It was. Um, and I'm sure many people picked up on this. I did my best to be more self-absorbed to a degree because I felt, well, it was really a natural reaction. And in my defense, um, it's not that I really thought that highly of myself, but at the same time, it was like I felt that's all I had left anyway because of just the amount of what I went through and what I experienced. I felt so alone. Um, I didn't really understand the support that was available for me. A lot of my very own spirit was crushed out of me before being born. And of course, my parents agreed to this. It's just all part of it. So I was never allowed to fully be myself, express myself. So what part of me that did come through did its best to protect me, on an unconscious, subconscious level.
Yeah. Because,
Just
yeah, I
to,
saw they got you started really young, like with modeling.
yes, that was part of it.
So, yeah, you were really born into this.
Yes. And pretty much everyone is in the entertainment industry, whether they realize it or not.
There have been pictures going around of celebrities, like there'll be a picture of someone that maybe lived in the 1800s, and then a picture of a current celebrity, and they look exactly the same. And some people think they're in a reincarnation loop, or that they are actually time. I can't think of the phrase right now.
So yes, there is an opportunity for time travel, but right there is your proof of cloning and how long it's been going on. So,
Yeah.
um, some of these clones, they just keep being reproduced and reused and sold, brought in, or removed to basically be avatars at whim of um, organizations and programs and such. But yes, the time travel technology is available. I mean, time is easily manipulated and is often manipulated. So that's
Yeah.
really kind of a no-brainer at this point, I hope, um, for
A
many.
lot of us, especially a lot of us in the spiritual community, I won't say a lot of the whole entire population,
Hmm.
but in the spiritual community, a lot of people, like, we feel when timelines are manipulated now.
Hmm.
We're getting evidence of it,
Hmm.
or the subconscious or someone's spirit team, like, they're just making them notice it, but it's getting through.
Yeah, so if your soul in any way, shape, or form has a connection to the timeline being shifted, you will feel it. So if you got clones out there too, whether it's in the past or now or in the future, any point in time in that connection, if it's connected to you in any way, you will feel it.
Yeah, I know I have at least one from a past time,
Hmm.
possibly
Yeah,
more than one. I don't
oh
even
yeah,
know.
some of us are highly sought after. What can I say? Famous in life, famous in death.
Yeah.
Hmm. But yeah, so that would be the biggest the reason why some people feel it more than others, and why it's something very hard to explain. Um, it's more something you just kind of experience. Um, it would be beneficial if people would come forward more with these experiences that they've dealt with when they feel these shifts. But again, there's just a lot of interference and suffocation going on still, to prevent truth from coming out. And
Yeah, and
I,
there's a lot of people, this stuff really scares them, so they just shut down.
mm, yeah, lots of fear around this, understandably, because you know, it's threatening your very livelihood. And it's not just your livelihood as a human, it goes beyond that. So
Yeah.
the soul knows that.
Like, I feel like that's why I've definitely gotten to the point where I'm going to get on here and put truth out regardless.
Yeah,
Especially
because
now that I know I don't have to deal with this much longer anyway, at least not in the physical. So,
yeah, the soul can come back down in a human life. Anytime there's an opening and arrangements have been made, and I know it's kind of hard to think about it that way because we have so many attachments here in this body typically, family, career, all that stuff. But I'm just here to tell you that the people that really matter, the things that really matter will always be with you. Um, you don't have to be a human to experience that.
exactly.
So if it's any consolation to some, that are out here on the front lines, that love will always be with you in some shape or form. It's not just available in the human experience.
Absolutely.
So I'm not saying don't do what you got to do as you are human, but I'm just trying to give some reassurance to some who may need to hear that.
Do you have any other messages you want to say for everyone?
I will say what I can to stay safe. There are many big changes coming. I cannot openly discuss them, but if this was just one message I could bring forward to everyone to stay safe and be a little bit more prepared, start participating more in being aware of what's really going on, and just kind of be open to understanding the depth of which your lives are being manipulated. It's really at the point now where it's now or never.
Yeah,
So you have to make this choice. Um, and that's pretty much going to create the trajectory for your soul for quite some time. So choose wisely, friends.
do you know what's going on Earth as far as Russia, Ukraine, threats of war?
Yes. Um, we have a good bit of intel on this right now, and where it stands right now, but there are some things shifting to where the possible outcome cannot readily be read just yet. So we're kind of holding our breath with you all.
That's what I've been feeling too. That this could go one of two directions right now.
Right. And there are several potential outcomes, but they will be narrowed down more over time. So, um, you know, these outcomes are in the hands of you breaking out of the system and of those in the system of itself. So, who will win? We're waiting to see.
Do you have any messages for Roxana?
I love you, sister. Thank you for letting me come down and have an interview in your body today. Although I have to say, it feels really interesting being in your body. But I'm so glad that we got to connect in this way, because our last lifetime together was not so pleasant. And in your current one, you weren't really a part of my life consciously, but some of the things that we went through was something that was shared in your lifetime. So I am sending you so much love and healing while I'm still here in your body to help you with some of the things that we went through together but separately. So I just wanted her to know that I am emitting some healing frequencies here in her body before I'm finished with this interview.
Are you and I connected at soul level?
Yes, we are. So I'll definitely be seeing you, more of you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, there's always much to discuss. So,
Are you connected with Athena?
yes. Mm-hmm.
She asked something else I couldn't hear. What was it? What planets are you connected to? Like, what's your...
Minerva for one.
Hmm.
Vulcan at one point. I frequent Roxana's twin flame planet every now and then. They don't really want me to share the name.
Okay.
But I am over there pretty frequently right now for peacekeeping purposes. Pretty volatile over there right now. Trying to keep the peace. So mainly that's what I am doing right now. I'm sent on peacekeeping missions for various planets. So I just happened to be in the area and I felt the pull. So I thought I'd come knock at the door and see what we could initiate while I'm in this area before I get sent off again.
Do you go to Draco?
Yes. You guys have some amazing parties.
He said they have some amazing parties. Do you have a connection with Sirius?
Yes, I do.
I was feeling that too.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about your soul jobs?
A lot of it I can't, just because it's pretty sensitive in nature, but I can say that I do work with a lot of what you would call royal bloodlines on various planets.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm mainly put in advisor positions. Of course, not in my human body, but
Right.
I know that's how I came through to Roxana. But yeah, so you could kind of say I'm a hopper. I hop around
I could
in
see that
different
with
bodies.
you.
Yeah. So I come in, I observe. Sometimes we go over like blueprints and various things for how things are run, and Yeah, they can download and access like my database and all the information I have on how um, kind of like a trajectory, like if they were to take this course of action, what would be the result of that? That's kind of my specialty. Like I can give various predictions for them so they can make better choices and avoid fatal consequences. Because obviously this isn't the first time something fatal has happened out there in the universe. So I have a pretty decent collection of this data, and that just puts me in a very useful position to hop around.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Do you have a dragon aspect?
I do. I do. It's one of my favorite forms. Yeah. I'll have to slink by and review sometime so you can catch a glimpse.
Yeah.
But I will
Are you
say
golden?
I am more blue than gold. Dark blue. Although I will shift the blue tones a lot, but I have a gold underbelly and claws.
Do you like to test?
Test?
Like test someone seeing you?
No, I'm pretty straightforward. I do joke around a lot, so it may come across that way.
Athena was wondering.
No, I mean, I'm pretty straightforward. I do have, family that are in dragon form at this time, so they may have just kind of caught wind of what's going on and come to snoop around because, I mean, why not? But my dragon form's pretty decent size, so it'd be
Yeah.
kind of hard to hide that, really. But yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
do tend to joke a lot, so.
Is there anything else you want to talk about before we end this?
I feel I've given a lot to chew on right now for some.
Oh yeah.
And I also feel that Roxana needs to move around. The body's starting to feel stiff. So.
Okay. So I just want to ask you one quick thing before we go. Do you have a message for me?
Yes. I will see you on Saturn.
Did you say on Saturday or on Saturn?
Saturn.
Saturn. Okay.
Yes. We
Interesting.
will be meeting up there at some point. But I can't
All
give away
right then.
details right now.
Yeah, I'm used to hearing that, so it's fine.
I'm sorry. I know how frustrating it is.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm used to it now. I don't get quite as violent about it as I used to. Depending
Oh,
on the question.
right. I feel that. It is our nature at times to be that way.
Yeah.
But it's totally cool. I really miss the Cali vibes. That's probably one of the biggest things I miss. Not everything associated with that, but just being in California, the sun on my face, the beach, the waves, the smell. Wow.
That
And
sounds
for
really
what
nice. I'm in New England in winter, so that sounds amazing right now.
Yeah, no thanks. Yeah, we need to be in warm places. That's our nature, really.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Well, I'm supposed to be here, so for it doesn't matter, but I'll choose better next time.
Yeah. Me personally, I would always be somewhere warm if I
Yeah,
can. That's why I hop around so much.
I'm gonna remember that for wherever I'm traveling next.
Yes. definitely. Enjoy that trip, sister.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming through today and talking to us.
Thank you for having me here. Very gracious of you. I really
Of
enjoyed it.
course. If you ever
Um,
want to do it again, let us know. We can do it
I
again.
will. I will definitely drop back by when I'm back in the area.
All right. So at this time, I'm going to ask you, Paul, all of your energy, all the personality of Paul to please recede from Roxana, from her consciousness, and from her energy. I'm calling back all the consciousness and personality of Roxana to come back to your body. And really quick, I'm getting the nudge to ask Roxana's highest self if you're needing to come through for a moment.
Yes.
I couldn't hear you.
Yes.
Okay.
There's some adjustments I needed to make in the body for a minute.
Okay.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
While you have the microphone, so to speak, is there anything you want to say for everyone that's seeing this?
I don't want to really alarm everyone, but everyone should be on alert right now. Be prepared for the possible war
Yeah.
worldwide. Please make appropriate preparations.
Yeah, we've
Again,
been
I'm
getting that
sorry.
message. Several spirits have been giving us this message for a while now. Not to manifest it happening, but that people will need to be mentally and physically prepared for anything.
Right, because we're not even sure of the outcome yet. It's still being decided by everyone. So
Yeah.
it's just something to keep in mind, not spreading fear. Um, just something to keep in mind, in the forefront of your mind. Like, we're doing all that we are able to do, but there's some decisions that humanity still has to make that is out of our hands. So
Mm-hmm.
we're doing the best that we can on our end, some of us anyway. Just like some of you are doing the same. So um, it's very much appreciated to just be considerate of this, because if you're unprepared, it's going to put a bigger strain on your teams and what they have to do to help you. So this
Yeah.
is a full circle help. You're helping yourself as much as you can, and it helps us um, be able to carry out our tasks a little bit easier. I mean, still could be challenging, but at least it will not be so much of a burden on everyone.
And I want to add to what you just said for everyone listening, like a big thing that could help not only the planet, but your spirit teams. Um, just like light candles for them, light incense. It doesn't have to be a huge drawn out ritual.
Mm-hmm.
Just, light something and tell your spirit guides that, here you go, this is for you to help boost you.
Yes, and it could be something as simple as sharing your food. I know some of you do that.
Yeah.
It can be anything, just to include, because this is about relationship building too. Just like we care for you, we kind of have to have that a little bit too, even though you are in the body and it's a little bit different, but it's just the way the energy works. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, I think I'm good in here now.
Okay. So at this time, I am going to start to count you awake, Roxana. I just want to state again, calling all your energy back to your body. Any energy or consciousness of Paul will go with him wherever it is that he goes next. It will not stay with you. You will be completely detached as you're supposed to be. And I'm going to count to 5 to start waking you up. When you wake up, you will be refreshed as if you had a nap. You will be alert. 1, start blinking your eyes. 2, start wiggling your fingers and toes. 3, you're waking up. Start moving around more. 4, keep moving around. You are waking up. 5, you are awake.
Oh. I feel really awful I had to do that to myself.
Huh?
I said I feel so awful I had to do that to myself. Turn on the light.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That was really interesting. Huh?
I felt like I was crying or something. My makeup's all like smudged.
I'm not sure since I couldn't see anything. I'm trying to think. He may have been at some point because he did get into some pretty deep stuff.
Okay. I figured it would be. Knowing our soul family, it's never light and fluffy bunnies.
He was very upfront and went deep about, Hollywood and his life. He had a lot of messages for everyone. So you're definitely going to have to go back and watch this.
Okay. Alright, I'll definitely do that then. Feel like there's another message in there I need to hear too.
I'm sure there was a lot. I didn't even type any of this. Like I was so in the conversation and like the topics were so deep, like I just couldn't distract myself with typing. So I'm like,
Wow.
it's fine, it's here.
Wow. I feel like we should have a lot more people here for that kind of information drop. Wow. I don't even know
And
how long.
I don't understand it. Every time I do these lives, like it's very low numbers that show up when it's always a lot of info people need to hear. So I think people just don't. Do I not speak English? Do they not understand what we're doing? I don't know. I don't know.
Is this something that you would post on YouTube? Because I know I see a lot of people doing this kind of work, but not in Quantum Trance, and they're on YouTube.
And I've done like I'll download this and post it to YouTube. I've done that with others, and I'll try to use hashtags and I don't get much of anything.
Wow. It does feel like a block around that. I don't know to what extent, but I do feel that.
I mean, the topics that come up in these, and it may be my highest self protecting me. Maybe these aren't getting out on purpose, because it could definitely cause some issues if the wrong people saw what I was putting out.
Well, for sure.
So,
But it's kind of like if they're allowed their rules, we're allowed ours too, you know?
Well, exactly. I'm going to keep doing it. So,
Right with you. Right with you, sister. Well, thank you so much for facilitating this. You know, no matter the numbers, it was important to me, and I know for some it'll be important for them too. You know,
yeah. I
to
mean,
have.
this was it was amazing to me. Like even if we had not been live. Um, so he
Awesome.
even brought up stuff about Herman. Like there was a lot I was not expecting.
Oh wow. Now I really can't wait to go back and listen because
Yeah,
I've only got a little bit and pieces still left jumbling around my brain right now. So
yeah.
awesome. I'm so glad we got to do this regardless of it all.
Let me know whenever you do watch this, like message me because I want to hear your thoughts as you are seeing it.
Okay. All right, I'll definitely do that.
All right. So I'm about
Bye,
to end
everyone. Thank
this.
you for watching.
Bye.
Take
Um,
care.
for everyone, thank you for tuning in. And if you would like your own quantum trance session, message me. And I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go eat now. Bye.